Hello, and welcome to Confidently Wrong, a show by regular dudes talking with confidence about content we have no right to speak about with any kind of authority, but do it anyway. I'm Wesley Nakamura, and as always, I'm joined by award-winning director Brian Redondo and Savon Jones, aka Captain Vonnie. This is episode 83, and we're talking about all the latest video game announcements from Sony and Nintendo. Are we going to talk about all the important reveals? No. But are we going to at least go in depth on some really interesting details? Also, no. I'm confident that it's going to be the best show you've ever listened to, and well, hey, if it's not, you can always ask us for a refund.
Incredible!
Oh, hey, gentlemen, welcome back. Long time no see. Savon, how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I'm caffeinated, then had my morning walk, ran my morning errands. I'm ready to record, man.
Just back from the farmer's market, I heard.
I got some blueberries, got some jam. It's on.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how bougie is this farmer's market?
Not bougie at all. You know, anybody and their grandma can go into it. It's nice. It's friendly. The vendors are cool. Eastern Market, Detroit, Michigan. Highly recommend.
How are their blueberries? How big are they?
Oh, they're delicious. They're juicy.
Brian, how you doing?
Oh, I can hear them. I'm good now. I was a little low energy until I heard some crushed blueberries in Savon's mouth, and now I'm juiced up.
Yikes. Man, we're just learning something about Brian we didn't want to know.
big yikes.
That was the ASMR kick that I needed.
That's Mike was into that.
All right. Well, today we wanted to talk about some video game news. It's been a while. I know there's a lot of shows going on out there in the world of content, consumption, but there has been some game news lately. Nothing major, nothing big, but just some nice nuggets of
Nothing major.
Tasty information
Boy,
that's been
tripping.
trickling out. Well, I mean, I guess you could correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think there's any like blockbuster news. That's all I'm saying.
Oh my God.
Oh, you sleep.
No. All right. So
He's on the wrong side of the fence today.
Facts.
I mean, always, I think. There's what do we have? We had Nintendo Direct. What was that? A couple days ago? A few days ago?
Mhm.
Correct.
All right. And we had Sony State of Play for the month of September, and they just gave us some more, goodness. The headliner being the God of War Ragnarok has another trailer. They kind of showed off some of the graphics and some of the visuals. There's some Hogwarts content coming out. There's another Yakuza game that's coming out, and then the big headline for Nintendo, they gave us even more look-sees into Zelda.
Not just looks, they gave us a date, my
Tears.
friend.
Yeah,
Tears.
Mark
What is it
your
called?
calendars.
Tears of the Kingdom, I think it's called, or Tears of Kingdom. What's it called?
Tears of the Kingdom.
Tears of the Kingdom,
We.
or
The
Tears.
Legend of Zelda.
It could
Tears
be
of the
Tears.
Kingdom. Breath of the Wild 2. Come on,
Yeah.
man.
That's what matters.
May 12th, 2023.
So, what games made you the most hype, my friends? Savon, start us off. What struck your fancy?
First of all, you heathen, how dare you not mention what I would argue is the GOAT fighting game, Tekken.
I knew you were going to talk about
a new
it.
Tekken
I
coming,
knew you
bro.
were gonna
Like,
talk
I
about
would
it.
love to see a fighting game with goats. Just as an aside.
Hey man, I mean, there's not goats. There's a Mexican wrestler with a leopard mask. No, a jaguar mask. That might. I don't know if that counts. That's the closest.
Oh,
thing.
and Adidas pants, right?
Yes, yes, actually, the track pants. And there's bears. So there's not goats, but there's bears. There's been dinosaurs.
I think we need a pair
Kangaroos?
of screaming goats.
Yeah. Oh, no, we do not.
Taika
have
already
that.
did that.
Hard pass. No. But now, man, I'm most excited for Tekken. I think
Tekken 8. 8
Tekken
in the
8,
series.
It's coming. The best part was that if you saw the Tekken trailer, they didn't just do like, one of those pre-rendered, oh, this is just basically a promotional video. A bunch of that was actual gameplay. So you open like, all right, bet, regardless of even though there's no immediate date, you see the graphics, you see what it's going to look like. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I'm already sold on this game. I'm going to get that Tekken experience, next gen, and then some of my main characters are going to be in it. I
Who's your
squeal
characters?
like a child.
Who do you play with?
I always play any fighting game I play. Any friends who know me know this and hate it. I play wrestler characters. I grew up watching WWE, so any context where I can just do a Stone Cold Stunner, a body slam, any of those moves. So I pick King. He's the guy I mentioned. He's a Mexican wrestler who, has his leopard mask, and he just slams you and bullies you, and it's just great.
No people's elbow.
Oh no, there's a people's elbow in there too.
Oh,
like one of his moves is when the opponent's down, he'll do like a little pose and people's elbow you. It's sensational.
Is Tekken the one with the samurai who can spin around in his sword, or is that Soul Calibur?
That's Soul Calibur.
That's Soul Calibur.
I love that character. Okay,
yeah,
wrong game franchise.
Both Namco fighting games, but Soul Calibur's their historical weapons game. Tekken is their modern multinational hands game.
So why should we be excited for the 8th installment of Tekken?
7 wasn't enough, Brian.
I always get confused. Like when it comes to fighting games, to me, they're each just like a mild increment, forward with each sequel. Unlike, story-based games where you're like, oh, where's the story's going to go? Or like, how's the gameplay completely changed? With fighting games, what do we have to look forward to for Tekken 8?
Wait, I would like to point out that this is the same question I asked about Gran Turismo like 6 months ago, and y'all hopped all over me. And Brian asked the same exact question about this one, and nobody made fun of him. So I'm just pointing it out that there's a triple standard going on.
This is a very different question. Your question was about, why would they even do this? Who is this for?
I just said, is there a market for this? That's all.
I am not asking about a market.
We both
I'm
said
asking,
there was a market.
What are we looking forward to in Tekken 8?
Which is the same as saying, is there a market for this?
No, these are completely two different things. I'm setting up Savon.
What's the appeal? You're saying
I'm
what's
setting
the
up
appeal?
Savon.
Also,
here.
first of all, the answers are the same. Is that yes, these games both have markets. You don't have to be the most top-selling game of all time to have a market of people who will always buy.
You're right about that.
There's the reason fighting games still get made after 20 plus years. It's doing something right. So to answer your question, Brian, and I say this as a very long time fighting game fan, right? Like I've been playing Tekken since Tekken 3. And then I've played the originals just in arcades. The biggest difference is, one, you're getting the visual upgrade. Like I've just watched game by game, these games become more beautiful, stunning, visual, all that. So you're getting a visual upgrade like you would with any fighting game. Like with any game. You change your control? No, I don't. No, God, no. I know people who do though. Wes put a question in the chat of do I change my controller grip? No, I don't.
I put it in the chat so you didn't have to interrupt what you were saying. It was so beautiful where you were going. So.
It's all good. But you get the visual upgrade. So you're always getting a better experience for the eyes. Second, as these games go on, you do get bigger and larger casts for the most part. So just having more characters to play with means just a more diverse experience. That in itself is, I think, the biggest appeal of fighting games is that. Next, usually from game to game, they're introducing new mechanics to make the actual in-game gameplay a lot more fun. Now, whether it's successful or not can vary from series to series, but I've seen games like Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, Soul Calibur, even from maybe 3 games, you might go from Soul Calibur 3 to 6. There's a notable change in mechanics and things that add depth to the combat that generally are for the better. Like in Tekken, they add, new ways that you can maneuver, new ways to extend combos. That might balance into just a more balanced game compared to older series where you look back and it's like, oh, these are small changes in mechanics, but they lead to a much more different actual gameplay experience. So if you're a casual who you don't play them a lot, you might not notice it, but for the hardcore fans who I think they really are the ones who drive a lot of these games, how they're developed, it's a really big deal.
Oh, definitely.
But
I'm in the casual category.
And also, here's the other thing for the casual category.
Button mashers.
The newer games also just end up looking more aesthetically pleasing, right? Like if it's a game where people are doing martial arts, and now with new tech, the characters are more photorealistic, the animations are smoother, all of that makes for just a game that I think for Tekken especially is more fun to play. Yeah, a character's doing a spin kick, but if that spin kick looks like it's in super HD, high frames, that means, when you're fighting against it, it really, it's just a much more immersive experience. So I think there's something for everybody. Deeper mechanics for the hardcores, more visual and appealing for the casuals.
I mean, as a devil's advocate, though, I wonder if video games, for fighting video games like Tekken, where they're starting to get into like a realistic type of, character model, if you start running into the uncanny valley problem that like She-Hulk is running into and stuff, where it's like, oh, you're like close enough to like trying to be photorealistic, but it ends up being sort of in this weird place of like, I don't really like how that looks. Whereas if it's super stylized, or if it's 8-bit, super, or Street Fighter 2 Turbo, I mean, that's like 16-bit, right? Like that was just like a great load of fun, and people just like enjoyed that it was simple. Whereas like now it's like, oh, now I'm going to be looking at this thing for like how realistic it is, and like how is the skin attached to the lighting. Whereas like you didn't care about that shit before, when it was just like regular fighting games.
So my counter to that is there's so many different fighting games that appeal to those different niches. If you're someone who wants a really photorealistic or more realistic type of game, Tekken might lean that way. But don't forget, they also announced a new Street Fighter, a series that also from its trailer and gameplay looks visually beautiful, but remains extremely stylized.
Okay. Oh, cool.
And so Street Fighter will always, just from the character designs, right? You're never going to make that photorealistic. It's going to be super stylized. It still looks beautiful and takes advantage, I think, of next-gen graphics, because it's not just the characters, right? It's how many effects you can show on screen, environment, stages, which are one of the most important parts of fighting games. A new Guilty Gear came out. Those games are still basically like fancy anime characters on screen in terms of its style, and so they get by off being stylized as well. So that's the thing about fighting games. They're niche, but each niche allows them to really lean into their own visual aesthetic and not be boxed in the way AAA games tend to be, which is, I think the more photorealistic part we talk about.
Any other games catch your eye, or was Tekken the one that just like took up all your attention, tunnel vision?
That took up all my attention. I mean, I know God of War is coming. That hype is already implied. Tekken, I didn't know if they were making a new Tekken.
But you didn't even watch the trailer for God of War.
Yeah, because I know I'm going to get God of War. Like, I don't need to watch trailers, especially story-based games, for something I already know I'm going to play.
Can we talk about that trailer just for a brief moment?
Let's talk about it.
Between Wes and myself. So in that trailer, a lot of things are happening. But at the very end, we do get the ultimate glimpse of Thor finally making an appearance in the game, which is something that they teased the entire first game of God of War. In
just
this particular...
trash talk him the whole game. It was just like,
I mean,
just like, ooh.
And then he doesn't show up. But at least finally in the Ragnarok.
Wait, the secret ending he does.
Oh, I haven't
played
the secret ending.
When you beat the game, go back to their home. You can go back to like the actual hut, and you can actually go to bed, and then there's a vision that basically shows Thor pulling up to their crib. You don't see him, but you see the wind blow and show Mjolnir on his hip. But that's in the first guy. That's in God of War. Yeah, just go back to the crib.
I gotta re-upload that game onto my system. Damn.
You can just go to YouTube, bro. There's no gameplay. It's just a clip. So,
but in the Ragnarok trailer, I mean, we get they sort of build it up, right? Atreus is older. I think he's got a different voice. Is that right, Wes?
I have no idea. He's so annoying.
He sounds more like a teenager. Still really annoying. And then at the very end, we get a glimpse of Kratos finally clashing with Thor, and the Leviathan axe makes contact with Mjolnir, and then cataclysmic shock and then cut.
Wait, what word? They showed that happened? Oh, that sounds gangster.
Yeah, and I mean it sounds like, or it looks like it's gonna really delight all the fans. I mean, they've just been building this up for a long time.
As someone who's, used to Chris Hemsworth's Greek, god bod as Thor, the most striking thing about watching Thor appear is just like how not, chiseled his body is. He's just like a huge hulk of a man, or a hulk of a god, I guess I should say, in this trailer. So kind of interesting. Yeah, kind of interesting that they're going with like that kind of character model. Savon, you were saying that actually that's probably closer to his mythological roots to be described that way. So
yeah, apparently cool. When they're when Mimir's trash talking him through all the first game, he constantly describes him as just like a big slobbering drunk, redhead drunk, and it's like, hey, apparently like in mythology, I know he's a redhead, so yeah, they're really leaning into like, no. Yeah, you know what? It alleviated my concern of like, oh, we have to see Thor in like the Assassin's Creed games and in MCU and now in this. And it's like, all right, cool. At least we get a different spin on him. That's going to be fun.
At least we get a serious Thor in this.
Yeah, actually, I'll take it. This will be, he's going to, oh, man, I don't know. It's going to be entertaining.
Yeah.
Brian, what caught your eye in all these announcements that just got unloaded on us?
So of course, as I was decrying you in the show's intro, Wes, Nintendo Direct dropped the biggest bomb of all, which is that Breath of the Wild 2 finally has a release date, May 12th, 2023. Mark your calendars. And they gave us another teaser, which just is just feeding the hype train of all of us Breath of the Wild folks out there, which really should be everybody.
Oh my God.
If you're not, you're missing out. You got to get on the train.
Breath of the Wild was very good.
So, I know I'm missing out.
So this is they also not only did they give us the teaser, and a release date, they gave us the title of Breath of the Wild 2. It's not even being called Breath of the Wild 2. It's Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom.
Tears. I think it's Tears.
Is it Tears of the Kingdom?
No.
You had me. I would believe you. I would totally believe you.
Yeah,
because in all the teasers, I think there have been a total of 3. This was the third most recent one. We see glimpses of the story, and it seems like they're hinting at some time travel stuff going on, right? I think with all the kind of like hieroglyphic type stuff that they show in each one of them, that we're getting a backstory for ancient Hyrule and the ancient civilizations and where Ganon came from. And Link and Zelda are trying to investigate all of that. And then we see some gameplay action, in particular a mechanic where it looks like boulders are moving. You're able to move boulders backwards, or you're able to see a teardrop move in the opposite direction. Instead of going down, you're going up through these floating islands in the sky. So it kind of makes me think that they're playing around with time travel in this game. Maybe. Could be. Who knows? So Tears of the Kingdom, I could definitely see it. A tear in the timeline.
Or maybe, this is my just tinfoil hat theory, Tears of the Kingdom, we're getting us multiverse Link. We get Toon Link in this thing. We get Twilight Princess Link. We get Super Smash Brothers Link. We get all of them, and then they all jump in with their shields and swords, and Sheik comes in and F it. Let's get cartoon Ganon and yeah.
Oh my God! If Smash Brothers Link made it into the game, and he picks up one of those hammers,
and he's just throwing hands. Come on.
But actually, you might not be far off, Savon.
No, I hope they don't do that.
there's a lot of speculation that about who you play in Tears of the Kingdom, whatever.
Wes, damn it! Look what you've done.
I mean, most likely you'll play Link, right? And it looks like you're playing Link.
It does.
But there's also speculation that one of the characters from behind is not actually Link, and that it's actually a young Ganon. Because you sort of see that he's got a messed up arm and whatnot, and that might actually
people be
connect
pixel
to the
PPD trailers.
Okay. Oh, of course, man, because it's Breath of the Wild 2.
That's why I stopped watching trailers for that. I was like, I would do it whether I wanted to or not.
So people are speculating that it does relate to Twilight Princess, but also the more obvious connection is Skyward Sword, and in that Legend of Zelda, Link is jumping from floating island to floating island in the sky, and then skydiving down to what's on the ground level, skydiving through the clouds, and we see a lot of that in the Tears of the Kingdom trailer teaser. So I think that's going to just add a whole nother layer of complexity to Breath of the Wild's map, which is already massive. Now we're adding another layer to it. The game
is it still in the same map?
I believe so. It should be the same map. So it's already massive, and verticality is a big part of the game, right? You can climb any object, basically any
Yeah, that's pretty
mountain in the
wild.
game. And now you're going to be able to jump from those mountains up into the sky where there are more, more terrain to track and to do your thing all over. So you're adding extra dimensions to a game that was already incredibly vertical. So I think that that is something that I'm really looking forward to. I've marked my calendar, and I know I got to be done with Elden Ring by then, so I can jump into Breath of the Wild too. And that, I think that's the mic drop for all these announcements that we're getting.
I mean, the only thing that I totally agree. It looks exciting. It looks fun. Is we already had some of this gameplay already released, or gameplay trailer already released. So I didn't feel like it was like blockbuster. We'd already seen a little bit of what's going on. We already saw that. It's not a teleport, but he can go up through rocks and land on a raised platform of some sort, which would be kind of an interesting. I don't know. It feels like a cheat almost, right? Like in Super Smash Brothers, you can't come up through the bottom of the platform. That's the whole point. Is you're stuck
What?
because you're
In Super Smash
vertically.
Bros.
But you
You
totally
can exactly
can.
do that. That is a key component
No,
of gameplay.
once you're underneath. I'm sorry, the bottom level one. You can't like come up through the bottom of it.
Generally,
Yeah. Okay. Generally, are there exceptions to that? Never mind.
yeah,
We're not
there's
in-
several
okay.
exceptions. Yeah,
Okay.
But I don't think they're using that mechanic as a save. Like, it's not meant to be, oh, I fell off the platform, but oh, good thing I can jump through the bottom of it. I don't think that's what it's used
No,
for.
yeah.
I think it's gonna have a game,
Yeah.
a gameplay purpose.
It's a movement.
Where,
Yeah.
yeah,
For sure.
they're gonna create puzzles around it for
Gotcha.
sure.
So the thing that caught my eye wasn't Zelda. It wasn't God of War. It was actually Tekken.
Damn right.
The way that the trailer was cut was like really cool, and I watched somebody else analyze it. I forget who it was. I think it was Gamer Ranks, and they were talking about how they were really looking forward to just like the way the graphics were going to work, how the like fighting was going to work, and they were excited because it was rendered in real time on a PS5, and so they were thinking, well, would these camera movements that were in the trailer be in the game? And I was like, there's no way they can do that. Like, it zooms in so far on one character, like what would the other player can't see what their character is doing. That's just like not a fair way to like have a fighting game work. But what was cool was like how the lighting was going, the weather effects. They showed a rain scene with like lightning going off, and the it just looked gorgeous. I think I was complaining to Brian, like the character models was like really good, except the main guy they showed was shirtless, and so he's a jacked, muscle bound guy because he's a fighter and whatever. He has to be masculine. But it just looked like someone stuck like a whole like lunch meat pack of bologna to his chest, and like that was his pec muscle. It wasn't like a natural looking.
Wes, that's how you get ripped. Don't you know that?
I mean, it just looked like chewing gum, like a large wad just stuck onto his chest, and they were like, that's what pec muscles look like. I'm like, I don't know if that's how they look, but fine, whatever. So Tekken looked really good. It's not a game that I'm gonna get. I'm not great at fighting games. I would just be one of those button mashers, like and seeing what would happen. High kick, low kick.
Hey, you are not a child. You don't have to do that.
I know, but that's
these games are more accessible than ever. This is not 2001 when you're at your friend's house with the busted controller and that's all you like. No, hold yourself to better standards, even if you're not going to play Tekken.
I don't like memorizing button combos that like they don't like have any correlation between like what they're, I don't know, whatever, it's fine.
So the good thing about Tekken is that I think they do. Each button correlates to a limb, so it is a little bit more intuitive than other fighting games.
Okay, all right.
But again, I'm biased because I think Tekken's the best one.
God of War, Ragnarok, just the way that everything is standing out in terms of their visuals is cool. I don't think I'm gonna get. Well, first of all, I don't have a Switch, but even if I had a Switch, I don't think I would go into Tears of the Kingdom. Damn it.
Tears of the Kingdom.
Look what you done done.
We're just gonna call it that. I'm not gonna get Tears of the Kingdom. It's daunting. Like, to imagine trying to dive into this world again. I mean, when I played Breath of the Wild, you guys were kind of with me while I was doing it, and it was just, the world was massive. The amount of stuff you were able to do and could do and had to do to sort of level up yourself to take on Ganon at the end it was a lot, man. Like,
I don't got time for that. My brain power is just like, no, let me do something like simple. Like, let me play a 10-minute game of Apex and I'm good. So I think just me personally, where I'm at right now in terms of like how busy I am, Tears of the Kingdom was overwhelming. I'm like, no, I can't even think about playing a game like that right now. And given how good Breath of the Wild was, it's like, man, I don't know if I want to like not ruin it, but be disappointed by a follow-up that basically ends up being the same and doesn't introduce anything like new or very little that's new, and it just builds on the same thing. It's like it's an iteration, right, versus a complete innovation that Breath of the Wild actually was for me, at least personally. And then actually Dune Awakening, I think that got released maybe a month ago in State of Play. I'm kind of intrigued by that. I don't know. I mean, I don't think MMOs
Same.
are my thing, but I don't know. I liked how it looked. I was like, ooh, like maybe I could play this.
That was a real cold Breath of the Wild ticket to end. I'm sorry, I can't just let that go unsaid.
I loved it.
No, you were doing good up until the end, and when you was just like, oh, I don't want to be disappointed because it's building off of this already great thing. I'm like, oh, you tripping, bro.
Don't let perfection get in the way of good.
Bruh. Especially like this amorphous, undefined definition of perfection.
100%.
Like I played Super Mario Galaxy. It was one of the best games I've ever played in terms of innovation and new ideas.
But you're someone who has said
Galaxy
like, you gotta
2,
have expectations.
Galaxy 2 was
Galaxy 2
better.
builds on the same premise and stuff. I'm glad that they made that instead of trying to just make something different for the sake of making something different.
Yeah,
And
but
this is
you're the
what
king of
makes-
saying expectations are what makes the thing, right? Like that's what you always say is like people set their expectations too high, but like
no, I say unrealistic or just undefined. Yes, you can change the way you think. Yes, you absolutely can.
My expectation is I don't know. It's just
a
like
choice.
No, I'm just like this is what I hope or like what I think and feel. I don't know.
I regularly shift my expectations.
Here's the thing though with video games, right? I hear you about sequels being disappointing. I'm looking at you, Star Wars. But in video games, it's different because they are actively trying to perfect the gameplay. And I think that's what can make them so special, right? Like it almost doesn't matter that, you know, that they don't introduce all these new mechanics or anything. If they can perfect the gameplay and tighten it up and make it even better, the sequel to me is worth it on those grounds alone. It's like somebody perfecting their craft, right? And that's what you have to do when it comes to video games, right? And you know, a lot of times the sequels are better than the originals. So Savon mentioned Super Mario Galaxy 2, The Last of Us 2 is another one, God of War 2 is another one, right? It's like they were able to finally understand the engine that they're working with, the world that they're building, how they're developing the gameplay. And then once they've gotten that out of the way, they're really able to take their ideas to the next level. So Breath of the Wild 2 sounds like a worthy investment, in my opinion.
I hear what you're saying, and I don't disagree. I think you're totally spot on there. I think what I was thinking of like a concrete example, like I would not want to do 40 shrines again.
120.
120 shrines again. So if like they had a game and instead of shrines they did something just slightly different, like the puzzle mechanic was not just going to shrines, like that's where I would feel like, oh, okay, this is
but that might be the case.
Fine. But if they did the shrines again, I'd be like, but I beat all the shrines and we're in the same world and the same map. Like, why do I have to beat these shrines again? I think that would be frustrating to me for someone who always likes something new. I don't know if that makes sense, but
why do I have to take down the same robot animals in Horizon Forbidden West?
It's look, like I get what you're saying, Wes.
But you're going to a new place to take down animals.
I get what you're saying, Wes. This is one of those like, bruh, you gotta trust Nintendo when it comes to these other games.
You're right.
Like, look at their track record, you know? Like, it speaks for itself. They do a great job of innovating, and when they still have good ideas and they say, actually, we still can do some cool stuff with this, like, trust them. You know, like, you don't need to throw away all the cool stuff in Breath of the Wild. Like, it being too daunting, I agree, because that's what I got stuck on Breath of the Wild. I was like, yo, this is a lot. And I know that it's good, but I recognize that it's a lot. But, you know, all those, like, interactions, element mechanics, the world, you shouldn't get rid of that. That's still, like, a great thing to build on. So trust them. Like, I don't think they're going to just give you the same game twice and then charge you full. You know, with Pokemon, they kind of do it more. But Without,
Yeah. But no, you're right.
they have a good track record. They're not going to have you do a bunch of shrines all over again. And if they do something similar, I'm positive that they're going to innovate it in very unique ways. Otherwise, they would have just done a totally different game.
Yeah.
And didn't they say they delayed this game's development? And
The Last of Us Part 1, we're looking at you now.
I mean, didn't they delay this game, or they like took extra time?
It's been delayed. Yeah, so I want to say
they're not delaying it just because clearly they putting in some craft and time into this. So trust their effort, respect their track record.
Yeah. So even though it has the release date scheduled for May 12th of next year, that means the game's coming out in November 2023. So maybe January 2024.
You think one more delay for sure?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Fair enough. So we have a lot of upcoming games. We have some info, but there's been some things that are just sort of teased out there. Is there anything that you're like, I just want a little bit more information about? Savon, was there anything that kind of caught your eye, but you didn't really find out enough about it?
I still want more information on the next Pokemon game. Nintendo and them I didn't get the last generation Sword and Shield because I was just I didn't like some of the decisions they were making behind the game. And that was the first generation I haven't bought since I started playing the series back when I was, a little kid. I got every gen up until that point. So I just want more information. I want to see what some of the mechanics are. What are they changing? I want to see some of just the new Pokemon. They released a few, but I'm going to need more information before I decide, am I going to get the next Pokemon game? Are they gonna win me back into the series? I have some burning questions that I need concrete answers to.
What do they need to do to win you back?
In the last generation, they cut a large amount of Pokemon. I know that they release the generations become bloated, but naturally, if you've been playing for your whole life, you get attached to specific Pokemon because that's what you use on your teams. When they weren't available,
definitely Charizard.
Yeah, when they weren't, exactly, like that made it in. But the people, some of the more niche ones got cut. I was like, oh, okay, if you're cutting Pokemon and some of these Pokemon, I'm just going to use because I just rock with this one. I'm just not going to get this game. And they released others later as like DLC, but at that point, I was like, I think y'all have the technological ability to put all these Pokemon in these games. And if y'all are not, then I just can't rock with y'all like that.
Sounds like a cash grab.
Yeah, and some of it is, I think some of it's cash grab. Some of it I think is just, I don't know, laziness from somebody. I don't know what it is, dog. But to me, there's just no reason why you can't have all the Pokemon in the game. Maybe I'm being unrealistic with tech expectations. I don't think so because I got a PS5. But nah, son, like
brag.
What? It's not a humble brag. People have PS5. Everyone here has a PS5.
I'm in the club.
I'm just saying, like PS5 is more, like performance based than Switch, which tends to be more, a little bit less than that. But we'll see. I need to know if I'm getting all my Pokemons. Otherwise, I'll be mad.
Which characters are you like must-haves for you?
Don't do that. It's gonna be really specific Pokemon that you don't know because
maybe someone listening. Yeah, maybe someone listening knows, and they're like, "You're right. That guy wasn't in the last one, and he needed to be in there." Or she.
A bunch of the starters. So Chestnut, which was one of the grass starters, they got rid of Chestnut. I was upset with that.
Is Chestnut like a astronaut chestnut?
Close. It's like a chestnut, but it's like a dreadnought. So they're supposed to be like a big, heavy knight. They have, big, heavy, grassy tank.
I wasn't close at all.
I mean, the chestnut pun part you caught, but you went astronaut instead of dreadnought, which I think is a fair.
Okay.
They had Mamoswine, which was like a big ice mammoth type they had that they cut. Just various fighting types. It's a whole list of stuff. They had the Magnezone that was cut. There's a bunch of just random Pokemon. I'm like, yo, you can't take this away from me. Either way, let me know if you get more. I might get it. We'll see.
Magnezone is a UFO-shaped thing with magnet arms that aren't attached to his body, and he just goes like this, and he's got one eye and a yellow little, I don't know, penis on his head.
What?
Really, bro?
Is that what yours looks like, Wes?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Exclamation
Get thee
point.
to a doctor.
Exclamation point on his head.
They also got rid of Buffalont.
Buffalont? What is a Buffalont?
That one you'll actually. No, I'm actually not gonna put that in the chat because it's gonna. I'm not even gonna open that.
Okay. It's just a buffalo.
Yeah, sure.
All right. with a big old afro puff.
Please don't tell me it looks like your thing.
Oh my god, I hope not. But yeah, Brian, what y'all hype for?
Well, I was really excited, not really excited. I was interested in there's a new PS5 controller that's supposed to come out. It's kind of more an elite controller. It's got back button or like buttons on the underside of it. It would make I think playing Apex a little bit easier in terms of like getting heals off, being able to jump and aim at the same time. But they didn't say how much it was going to cost. And that's like really important. I mean, if it's like $200, no, I'm out. But if it's like $199, something like that, $110 maybe in that realm, I'd probably be interested to have that customization and then to be able to move your aiming sticks and your character at the same time as actually pull off some kind of action. That would be nice. But what was it wasn't glossed over, but it was very quick, was in the Nintendo Direct, they were saying that they're going to release some N64 games. I believe they're coming to Switch, I think was the deal. I'm not sure 100%, I didn't verify. But games from our childhood, for me and Brian's childhood at least. So GoldenEye.
So basically when you were in college.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, that doesn't make sense. Other way.
No, yeah. When we were in college, he was like the same age that we would have been, but backwards, but we weren't playing them at that point because we were in college. 1080 snowboarding. Do you remember that game, Brian?
Yes. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
It was pretty
good. My
good.
cousin would dominate me on that game. I don't know. He was like really fast down the mountain, could do all the tricks, and I could not.
SSX is way better though.
Yeah, bro, tricky.
Mario Party. I think 1, 2, and 3 are gonna come, but
okay, I played Mario Party, bro.
Yeah,
but there's the new Mario Party anyway for the Switch. But keep going.
But it's just cool. It's nostalgia, it's from back in the day. And then Pilot Wings, which I saw the video and I was like, oh, that looks terrible. Like I remembered it being like kind of better, but you have to go through these like rings in the air, kind of like imagine like the Quidditch hoops, but they're just floating, and so they're these like things. And I don't know. In my head, I was like, oh, it was like a fancy like outline or whatever of these rings. Nope, it's literally just like triangles that are in the air, maybe like slightly 3D triangles, and you just have to fly through these hoops. So
this was the pinnacle of technology back then.
I mean, just like the disconnect between what my brain remembers these games being like, and then just seeing them again, like put up on screen. I'm like, oh, that's not at all what my 8-year-old self remembered about N64. So. But GoldenEye is coming back. Like, how fun would that be to play on an actual working system, right? That nobody has N64s anymore, so it's hard to.
That's very much a college thing. Like, 4 dudes sitting around some dorm room with beers and GoldenEye.
No,
we did that with Halo.
Yeah, but N64 wasn't even around at that point. Like we were already at the end of GameCube's life. By the time
some people
still had N64s.
Yeah, but it wasn't as common. So. It wasn't something that I got to partake in.
Slappers only. That's the way to play.
Yeah. Big head. I like big head mode. So anyways, that kind of I'm not gonna like get a Switch just for that, but if I had a Switch, I would definitely be getting some of these games for sure.
With the whole nostalgia trip with all these back catalogs,
they be getting y'all
game. Like, I mean, it's always fun to think about, and then you jump into one, and just like what you said with Pilot Wings, you're like, well, that was fun for a minute.
Yeah, but I'd rather play a current game that's actually exciting.
Yeah, we talked about because games build off concepts and whatnot.
Yeah,
like I had a Tekken where I think it was Tekken 6 or 7, but it had in the game it also just had all the old Tekken, so you could play the original one. And so I play a little bit of original Tekken, and I was using my character, and I'm like, oh, okay, there's way fewer ways to combo, move around. I have just a exponentially smaller move set, and it's just more just busted cheesy things other characters can do. And I'm like, yeah, even though the core gameplay hasn't changed, this is very much a 20-year-old game.
yeah And even recent games are like that. Friend of the show, Tim Funky Fungus, has been playing The Last of Us 1 remake. He never played the original. He really liked the game, but he also said it gets fucking repetitive.
It's dated.
Yeah, I mean, the gameplay is dated. Even though they updated the AI and whatnot, he still felt that way. But now he's on to The Last of Us 2, and he thinks it's fucking incredible.
Oh my god, that's one of the best games ever made.
So there's clearly a huge jump, even in this shorter time span.
Yeah.
Right. So just
Mhm.
think about what it's going to be like playing
So
Pilot
don't put.
Wings.
You're saying don't put all my eggs in the Pilot Wings basket.
No,
Okay.
but buy the controller, don't buy the Switch.
Or it's one of those, it's okay for memories to just be that. Memories.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. All right. It's been so we haven't talked about, the state of where PS5 is at, where the Switch is at in terms of like hardware, or what is it, Switch OLED? that was their big reveal last year. How do you feel about the console, where we're at in terms of tech, games, the newest generation, Xbox Series X, all of that? Are these new systems? Is it time for everybody to upgrade at this point? Like should 99% of people be on the next gen? Brian, what do you think?
I mean, absolutely. I'm new to the party also as well. I just got my PS5 a few months ago. But just like the load time situation, I was playing Elden Ring on PS4, and every time I died, I'd basically have to go take a bio break, make a snack, go to the bathroom, and then I come back and it's still loading.
Wow.
Now when I die, which is very often, I can go right back into the gameplay, and that makes such a huge difference in quality of life. Like that alone makes PS5 worth it to me. So yeah, obviously people should get it, and I think PS5s are now pretty available, from what I understand. Like,
okay,
yeah, ish, yeah.
Like it's possible.
You can order
to get
them
one
online. The Horizon Forbidden West package, you get the console and the game, seems to come up a lot. I keep getting ads for it and stuff. Anyway, so I think that's definitely a must. When it comes to the Switch, though, the Switch is, I think, 5 years old at this point.
2017.
Yeah,
it came out like
2017.
like March 2017, I think.
And as hyped as I was for Tears of the Wild, Breath of the Kingdom news, that was the only real bit of news that I was excited for. I know folks like Savon are waiting with bated breath for Pokemon, but a lot of the other stuff that they were talking about during Nintendo Direct was just like kind of smaller games. There are so many farming sims. Like, how many Stardew Valley's Animal Crossing games do we need? Like, there's just a ton of that kind of stuff, which to me feels like filler content, to be honest with you. And so a lot of like the Nintendo flagship stuff has already dropped. We're just waiting for the new Zelda, and then that might kind of be it. That might be kind of it for the Switch. I really do think it's verging on its last legs, and I'm sure there's going to be an announcement in the next year or two of what their next console is going to be.
So one thing I'll add, because I think we sleep sometimes on how big markets for games are outside of the US. Splatoon 3 just came out. I know none of us really play Splatoon.
I don't even know what that is.
Oh, I might actually get it.
Splatoon West is it's like a little paint arcade shooter game with cartoon characters on the Switch. I don't play it a lot, but apparently Splatoon 3 broke records as the fastest selling game in Japanese history, just like straight up in the country. So Nintendo Switch, even if they don't have I don't know how big it is in the States, but it already shattered records for some of the previous entries in the series. But you can't sleep on, like, they have a lot of series that are clearly making them a lot of money and keeping the Switch going strong. And we still got to acknowledge that we're not in the Switch's target group, but I have multiple people I work with who have, family and kids, and they use their Switch on a regular. They still get game. Like, I talked to one of my supervisors about, hey, what game should I get for the Switch? You think my kids are like, oh, you might want to try this, because blah, 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 blah. So
Pilot Wings.
Yeah, I mean, and then, Smash, everyone still plays Smash, Mario Kart. Like, they still have their flagship games that, even if there's nothing big and new announced for it yet, like, it doesn't need to, because they have that. People are going to keep playing that. I don't think they're as sequel thirsty or new content thirsty nonstop as we are, maybe for our Sony and Microsoft series.
I actually want more AAA games to come to Switch for the sole reason that I can take it on the go, right? And that accessibility just makes my life better. Like, I can satisfy that craving to play a game more easily. I'll pick it up quicker, faster, more frequently.
You can play
Define
on the screen.
AAA. What you mean by AAA? Like, it's like these Breath of the Wild Zelda games, I would consider to be AAA for you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So like games like that. Like I want
Smash Brothers,
more
maybe?
of that. And so when I'm saying like, well, there's not much else like that coming out, that's sort of where I'm at. But so the reason why I think the Switch is kind of on its last legs is because now there's a competitor, right? Now there's the Steam Deck, which is very Switch like, and you can basically play every game under the sun that has come out for PC, including Elden Ring, like on a Steam Deck on the go. So, with that capability now available, it kind of makes the Switch for people like us, seem a little bit of an afterthought at this point. So I'd really like to see Nintendo up their game.
I don't disagree.
Heard, Chef. Let me see. Yeah, I would. I'll just want to back up what Brian said, that like having the speed of the console is still the headline. I mean, when Mike told us about him getting his PS5 back in the day, and he was the first one to get it, he was just like, the ability to like turn your machine on and get into a game within like 30 seconds, or the ability to load up a game, be in the level, die, restart where you were at, and just have it like go, is like such it just reduces all the friction of what was happening on PS4 and what happens on Switch. And it just makes the whole time more enjoyable, right? Like for people who don't have oodles and oodles of time just to wait around, it feels like, okay, like I'm having fun, I'm doing this thing, and then like I'm maximizing the time that I have. And not that everything needs to be about maximizing, but it's just,
but it does.
Yeah, but like, I mean, if you're gonna sit down and like take the time out and sacrifice doing something else, like being with your wife or going out,
taking care of your child.
Yeah, taking care of your child, like it better be worth it, right? Like you better actually be getting some enjoyment out of it, and the PS5 just enables that. It's also, I mean, its ability to record in real time.
No capping in games anymore. You can't lie about what you have or haven't done. Oh man, the other day I was doing well and cool. Did you clip it? Oh, no, it didn't happen. And no excuses, because you can save up to an hour of footage, clip it, cut it, put it to YouTube quickly and instantly. Like there's it's great. You can just send highlights to your friends, apps. Like just in a, I wanted to send my brother just a bunch of 2K highlights. I could just bam, boop, bop, send it. Hey, you saw what I sent? Yeah, bam, high def. Like it's
4K when you send it. It's beautiful.
It's tough.
Oh man, and Wes, you said it. Switching between games is also like a huge game changer for me. Just like how quickly I can jump from Spider-Man to Aloy and Forbidden West, and then to my Elden Ring character. I do that all in one night. and then
you're like, I'm done with this. I want to play something else now.
There goes my night. Like, I mean, it's a way to really get that satisfaction whenever you have the gaming craving.
It sounds like a small thing, but it's a big thing.
Yeah, it ends up being just such a game changer. And then on the game side, right? Like now the worlds can be much bigger, so it's definitely worth it. I'm sure Xbox Series X is having a similar sort of benefit to its users, even if like not every game has been like amazing on each of the consoles. So get one if you haven't got it and you got the money. For sure, it's worth the upgrade at this point. 2 years in, I mean, assuming PS5 is around for 7 years, you're already 2/7 of the way there. So let's get on that train now that they're available for sure.
And the PS4 games aren't gonna get any smaller, that's the other thing. Like, yeah, you can get the PS4 versions of a bunch of these games that are for both gens, but if we just talked about how the technology is getting better, the games are getting bigger, those load times are only gonna get worse. Like PS4 load times got worse because the games got bigger, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm thinking about the Elden Ring stuff, early PS4 game that wouldn't happen, but so the longer you wait, it's just going to be like, all right, you're about to spend a lot of time just at these loading screens or getting just lots of slowdown and poor performance, because at a certain point, like, hey, bro, the devs are going to stop making PS4 versions for these games. They're going to lean just straight PS5. And, the pandemic slowed it down, but like, hey, it's happening.
Well, I can't wait for Nintendo and Sony to send us our sponsorship money, since we're telling people to buy their consoles and buy their games and buy their consoles. It'll be
and
good.
If they would like to send us games to review, I would gladly accept the offer.
Yeah, I'll take
send
one
us
for
a
the
download
team.
code, guys.
Yeah, holla at your boy.
All right, let's finish up there. Have a good one. See you next week. Bye.
We
Bye-bye.
out.